Welcome to the Light, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Thank you, voiceover guy. I never get tired of listening to my intro. It probably sounds very up myself, but I always enjoy it and think it was fantastic the way that introduces me. And we already know the fact that lovely trailer voice guy has a better voice than mine. But I appreciate everyone who sticks around to listen to me for 30 or an hour of the day of taking out their time. Whether you're driving to work or on the work site or whatever you like to do, in lovely lockdown, whether that be anything that has to be inside lockdown, really. Hi, everyone. Welcome back for another edition. I've got a very packed episode today. I'm going to be talking about the What If series, the zombies, the last episodes of Rick and Morty, with Christopher Lloyd doing promos, as well as going to be talking about Sony Showcase. And most of all, which you probably guessed from this title of this wonderful episode, is that I actually sat down and I watched The Room. Now, if you don't know what The Room is, you're about to get a crash course in it, and which I hope that you will avoid the same mistake I did in watching it. Hell, I think you should watch it just to get directions away to never watch it again. And I'm going to go into exactly why. And that's wow, my eyes are shit. It's singed, burned, singed. That's it. I was looking for singed. Oh, it's an experience, as it is going to listen to me every Tuesday morning. So let's get straight down to this episode and Marvel What If Zombies. Marvel Zombies. Look, this is when Marvel did announce, which I usually do on the Monday or Tuesday, do the promo arc for what the episode will be. This is episode 5, and look, I'm in. I'm loving it, and I know I said this every week. You're probably going to say, when are you going to actually not love what something Marvel produces? I do. There is something I don't like about Marvel. Go watch Howard the Duck. And that is something Marvel should have never touched, nor attempted, or looked at, even thought twice about it. Howard the Duck, the movie. That is absolutely garbage of a movie. And I can see why Marvel didn't touch movies for a little while. And I think it took until Blade to really kickstart that entire experience. Trust me, go watch it. But these Marvel Zombies, I love this episode. It's different, and it's got horror vibes all over it, and I think it gets you ready for Doctor Strange 2, which obviously everyone knows I'm pumped for. And I did actually see a little thing on the fact that Doctor Strange 2 will be the first MCU movie which we'll already know about that will not contain this movie is adventure, space, action, or this related. This is actually going to be labeled horror. Straight up horror. Nothing else in between. Probably horror action or horror adventure or horror themes. But if this episode's an indication leading into that, I'll say it time and time again, and I'm probably getting everyone sick of it, but in Marvel we trust, not DC. We don't trust DC. No way. And if my last episode was any indication, please go listen to it, and you completely understand why we have trust in DC. And if you're a DC fan, I can hear your groans from here and go, yeah, he's right. We don't trust him. It's DC we trust. It's Warner Brothers, I think we don't trust. And they're a little bit iffy. But this particular episode, this picks up right at the start of Infinity War. Actually, before I start, I'm getting a little bit earlier every single episode. Spoilers alert. Spoilers everywhere. It's like COVID for my podcast. I don't actually have COVID. But spoilers everywhere. You would catch spoilers, and spoilers is contagious, and I look, I can't help it. Look, it's Tuesday that this podcast comes out, and it's been a week since What If came out. And if you are a fan, and if you're listening to me and you haven't watched it already, where do your priorities lie? Like, what actually, you know what? I say that, and most likely the people will turn around and say to me, my priorities is that we're out of lockdown. And to that, I say a big middle finger to you, sir. Unfortunately. However, back to on topic. So, spoilers. So, this picks up right after Infinity War. Sorry, at the beginning of Infinity War. So, Hulk gets transported across space and lands in the Sanctum Sanctorum. And instead of Doctor Strange and Iron Man seeing them there, it's completely empty. And Bruce Banner comes out, and as you know, the two villains from the Black Order appear, and instead of them winning, they kind of get devoured by Doctor Strange and zombified Iron Man. I love this. I love that scene. I love the scene where Bruce is like, "Yeah, go for it, go for it." What are you guys doing? Like, you don't actually see them. You don't actually see until all this dust clears that they've actually been zombified. And I like the drawings. I like, aesthetically, I like how, I still think it's horrific. But I like the drawings of it. And then he gets saved by the little crew. I've got a lot of Zombieland vibes from this episode, actually, because of Spider-Man. Which you get saved by Spider-Man, Hope, and Happy Hogan's in it as well. So it's like the survival crew, or post-apocalyptic, zombified apocalyptic crew that save him. And they basically break down the fact that, which I thought was actually very interesting, how this was, when I did see the fact that when we were doing the trailer for this, I was very curious how they're going to do Marvel Zombies. Like, how are you going to put the spin on it? Like, so how are you going to, what's going to be the trigger for this all to happen? And it's actually, it picks up for Ant-Man 2. Obviously, Hank Pym goes back in time. Goes on the quantum time to save Janet Van Dyne, but she's actually zombified because she actually catches a virus in there. She attacks him. He brings it back, and boom! How easy to be the Avengers because of the fact of all zombies. And so obviously Avengers try to help, and one by one, zombie. So they're actually both Cap, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Captain Falcon, all gone. Black Widow, all gone. So it's horrific that's all that happened. But overall, obviously, I won't spoil it all for you. Overall, they obviously go on an adventure to try and find a cure, and the story goes really well. Even though that Tom Holland didn't return for this, the voice actor who Spider-Man did very well. Majority of the characters over the course of this episode all did return. Majority, but obviously one or two didn't come back to voice their characters. However, probably the one thing that I did find really creepy about this episode is actually Thor isn't in this either. So I'm guessing Thor is still getting Stormbreaker, or not too sure how he fits in the storyline. And then they find Vision. So obviously Vision has been zombified because of the fact he's a robot. Really morbid thing was the fact that you find out that Wanda is zombified, and Vision couldn't kill Wanda, so he's been feeding her people to feed on. And Black Panther is in it. He's missing half his leg. He's been chopping him up and feeding it to Wanda. Jesus! Whoa! Yeah, when I clicked in that scene, I was like, oh God, this is, whoa. Definitely still pushing that PG. And it's also in this universe as well, is that all these characters, they still have all their powers. So Wanda, being one of the most powerful people in the MCU, has been zombified and is currently a zombie with her powers. Wow, that's a very dangerous mix. And unfortunately in it also Vision dies again, and I don't think in any universe Wanda and Vision are meant to be together forever. So sad. No, it really is. It really is. It sounds sarcastic, but no, it's sad because, when you watch WandaVision and you watch Infinity War and Endgame, you just Jesus, they're not really giving you much leg room to have a happy ending. Be interesting to see what happens in Doctor Strange 2, though. So obviously they slowly find a cure, then they go back to Wakanda. This is all the second time Chadwick Boseman plays Black Panther, which means the fact that we've seen him twice, so he's only going to appear 2 more times. The last time he's going to appear is going to be the saddest. And also the fact that Uncle Ben, Spider-Man makes a mention about Uncle Ben for the first time in the MCU, so that's interesting. And right at the end, this was another, it was like Doctor Strange. It wasn't a happy, no, Doctor Strange was a much sadder ending. But this was half happy, half good. So obviously our heroes are going off with the cure. They're going back to Wakanda because they've got the dome. They're possible to save the world. However, the last shot of it all is a zombified. This is what I just say, with Wanda, a zombified Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. And just. You're screwed. 100%, absolutely screwed. And love the shot, love all the zombified. And, I would love a whole movie on this, how this all happened. And I really hope, because I know I say this, is the fact that they're making a season 2. I would love for this episode with the Doctor Strange to get a second one. These episodes are only going for 30 minutes, but I feel like there's so much more you could pack into this. Or, drift on to. So that's going to be very interesting, and it'll be very cool, with obviously Doctor Strange, with all this horror. Are we going to see any zombified heroes in Doctor Strange 2 for this horror? That was the most curious thing I thought about going into this, was what are we going to see? There's also already a rumor, the fact that Hayley Atwell is going to return as Captain America, or Captain Britain, if you will. Captain Carter. So it'll be interesting to see how she's going to appear. Will we see a zombified Iron Man or a zombified Captain America? Take my money. Please take my money, Marvel. I will be down for that. And so overall it was a good episode. Very ambiguous ending. More so than Doctor Strange. Other way around. Doctor Strange more. This was about a half and half ending. And I didn't think... I have seen some comments that people didn't really like the episode, and the fact it wasn't a good follow-up to Doctor Strange episode. However, it's... these episodes, at this stage, you have to look at them individually. Obviously, until we know, they could be completely not any in particular order. But so far, I'm still loving it. I'm still thinking it's good. But however, so far, 5 episodes in... The Doctor Strange one is the one I put at the top of the pedestal. That one, and then down. Probably that one, where the Avengers die, that would be my second from the top. And then would be Black Panther as Star-Lord. Then zombies. And I put Black Panther high because R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman, and number 1 being Captain Carter. Captain Carter isn't a bad episode. It just didn't appeal to me. Now we've seen the rest. I'm like, oh yeah, it's getting a little bit further down. But yeah, that's my take on Marvel Zombies, and bring on episode 6. Hell yeah. And looking forward to that. Also, what came out this week as well is the last 2 episodes of Rick and Morty for the season, I do believe. And, wow. And what I meant by the Christopher Lloyd part is the fact that they've done a couple of more promos with Christopher Lloyd as Rick, and it's so funny to watch. Please go check them out. They're really good, and it's, as I said, it's like a full kind of circle thing. The last 2 episodes of Rick and Morty, is, they're back to back. You can see why they were both released at the same time. They obviously their episodes obviously follow up each other, but these two episodes you could almost cut out the entire break and the credits. Like, this is pretty much one entire episode, like an hour episode. Which we find the fact that Evil Morty makes a return, and the Citadel. Oh, I probably butchered that. The Citadel. Yeah, no, that sounds about right. Makes a return, which I think is a plot thread that with Evil Morty it's been having since season 3. Season 3, that's how long this has been going. And it's even funny because I love how even Rick says, like, oh my god, we haven't got time to go back to the main storyline. And Morty's like, yes we do, let's go. He's like, oh god, let's go back into it. And it's funny because it's like you completely agree with him. You completely agree with Rick. And yeah, I loved it. I loved the crow. Love the anime-inspiring beginning. But go check it out. Go check it out if you're a Rick and Morty fan. If you haven't watched it already, I'll be very surprised. But the two episodes, I think, go very well with each other as a whole episode. I did like the ending episode more than I liked the one before it, because there was just so many questions, and most of all, which I think finally, which we've been claiming since the season began, obviously Rick being the most smartest man in the universe, all these multiple clones, variations, everything, is that we finally actually see his full backstory. In the last episode, we actually find out his entire backstory, and it's just, when you watch it, it's, you already knew he was already damaged, but then you watch that and you're like, oh, Jesus. And you feel bad for him. Like, you gotta feel bad for both these characters, but when you watch it, it makes more sense why he's so close to Morty and why it will always be Rick and Morty adventures. And then you add that, and what happened to obviously his daughter and the clone, and that storyline as well. It's very convoluted, but at least we finally get to see that, which I think was most of all out of this I was most curious about. And the fact that right at the end, Evil Morty lives, and where he is, I have no idea. So the main thing what he was doing, which this episode was a little bit morbid towards the end when you realize what was happening, is the fact he opens a portal to another dimension in which he tries to completely separate himself from the never-ending cycle, which you find out that Rick and Morty are actually in because what Rick made. So the reason why there's so many variations, why there's so many Rick and Mortys, and the fact that it's not, I wouldn't say it's a time loop, but it's like the never-ending story. Like, it's something that they will continue to go around again and again and again. So Evil Morty's trying to break that cycle. It looks like he's gone to another dimension, but where to, we have no idea. And I speak for everyone. More Rick and Morty, please. Now, that would be very nice. Yes, please. More Rick and Morty. Hopefully. So go check it out. Last 2 episodes are really good. So far, everyone I've spoken to loves it, and is also clamoring for more. And when you look back on how this all started, what Rick and Morty started with, you think, wow, from that to here, they've done very well for themselves, Rick and Morty, and even how meta it is, and sometimes I feel like, oh, that's just crap. I'm like, it's a really good story, and it's like with any show, it has its highs, it has its lows, and it has some moments where you're like, WTF. Which is, so go check that out. In other news, Shang Li is doing well for its second weekend. It's smashing box office records in the post-COVID era. I don't like when people say post-COVID era. We still got COVID. We're still in the era. So don't know why people keep saying that. But second weekend, it's done very well. Apparently, also due to its success, it's actually cemented the fact the internals will now be completely exclusive to launching at the movies. at the theaters, and they will not be doing the dual release. Which, to be honest with you, I didn't think they were going to do that anyway. However, this just cements the fact that, people want to go see these movies. People had enough. Let's go already. So that's fantastic. That's really good to hear that's doing well. And I, as I say every episode, until I can see it, I can't wait to go see it. And it's the highest rated movie on IMDb. And I'm like, I don't know if that's because of the fact not everyone's seen it yet. But I'm like, are you telling me that the highest rated MCU movie and I can't frickin' see it? Oh yes, that's exactly what we're telling you. You have to remain patient in your state until you can see it. Well, thanks. That's great. But yes, so you have to wait patiently, and I'm going to blast when I finally see it onto my podcast. Hell, I might record my entire review as soon as I get to the theater in front of all the crowd and be like, look, I finally got to see it, guys. I'm also now 50 years old. So that's going really well. Good luck. I hope Shang-Li keeps going well. Including if we still stay with Marvel, 2023 and 2024, hold on to your butts. We're going to get 7 MCU movies. Yep, you heard me correctly. 7. And, turn the clocks. There was one stage where we get 1 every 2 years. Or 2 in 1 year. And, oh my God, now we're getting 7. So, apparently Marvel have announced, which they have done in the past, is that they've announced dates that movies will be coming out. But obviously they've announced what movie it's going to be. So, if we look... So, 2023, we're getting on... Sorry, actually, the dates that have confirmed is the 28th of the 7th, 6th of the 10th, 3rd of the 11th, 16th of the 2nd, 2023. 16th. 16th of the 2nd, 2024. 3rd of the 5th, 2024. 26th of the 7th, 2024. And the 8th and the 11th, 2024. So it's about 3 to 4 movies, and obviously creating at 7. But there's no confirmed who's going to take what. Obviously, we know that Blade, Fantastic Four don't have a date, so it could be any of those. So I do believe, I think the fact that Fantastic Four is the last movie of Phase 4, which I feel like if Fantastic Four isn't the last movie for Phase 4, don't think it would be right. It's actually interesting because obviously we know each phase passes with an Avengers movie, so I wonder if one of those will be Avengers 5 or Doctor Strange 3 or Black Panther 3 or definitely won't be Black Widow 2. No, I don't think we're going to see Black Widow 2. It could be Shang-Li 2, depending how quickly they want to fast track that. Will one of them be Avengers 5? Will one of them be Captain America 4? Because apparently, my God, his name just escapes me. Obviously, Captain Falcon. He's apparently signed on for Captain America 4. So far, only he's signed on. No word on Bucky, so no word on Sebastian Stan. If he will be returning, which I do believe will be a given, depending with everything going on. And will actually one of them, depending how everything goes, will this also be Spider-Man 4? Will we get a Spider-Man 4? Obviously, we've seen that we're getting Thor 4, so obviously we can have a Spider-Man 4, and it would be nice. It would be nice to see that finally a Spider-Man gets a Spider-Man 4 movie. Look, probably one thing that will have the biggest question mark. A big question mark on the Spider-Man universe, which I kind of wish they did make it. I really do. But obviously, depending, if they did make this, maybe we would have got Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Is that obviously we do know that after Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire, they were going in pre-production for Spider-Man 4, which the villain was going to be Lizard. That was going to go ahead. But unfortunately, everything crumbled, and then Sony was like, yeah, no, reboot button, reboot, but we're going to take your script idea. And obviously Lizard got turned into Amazing Spider-Man. And, apparently, the fact is, like, I would love to see the Mega Spider-Man 4. However, the moment's passed. And we'll probably get Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3 anyway, so that will still be a dream come true. But yes, they were going to make Spider-Man 4. Missed opportunity, I feel, that they could have done that. The guy, apparently, it was also Spider-Man 4 was going to have the Lizard as well as Mysterio. He was also going to be, because if you look online, there's storyboards of it, and it was going to be, his name escapes me too. He plays Ash in the Evil Dead series. He has a cameo in Spider-Man 1. He's the announcer. Spider-Man 2, he's the waiter. He's the waiter, I think. No. He's the valet at the theater, and then 3, then he's the waiter at the restaurant, and he was going to be Mysterio at the very start. The fact he was watching Spider-Man the entire time, and apparently he's also, because Sam Raimi is directing Doctor Strange 2, apparently he's got a cameo in there as well, which is going to be fantastic. Whether or not he actually will be Mysterio, like he's trying to copy the new one, so that'd be really cool. So that's really so it'd be nice if you get Spider-Man 4. So it'd be really interesting to see what those movies will be. I'm totally pumped for Blade. I'm totally pumped for Fantastic Four, and I would love any of these movies to get a sequel, because I feel like with these characters you can still, depending on how long the actors want to keep going, stunts and everything. I'm all up for Shang-Chi 2, all up for Spider-Man 4, all up for, Black Panther 3, Doctor Strange 3. The most probably question mark that's on a lot of people's minds is Avengers 5 and how that's going to shape up. Which we already know the big bad is going to be Kang. So it's going to be interesting for Ant-Man 3, how that will lead into that as well, question mark. But yeah, that's a lot of news that came out the last few days. It's actually been a really big week, to be honest with you, between Marvel, between Rick and Morty, between Sony. It's, as this week progressed, I was like, I gotta write that down. Oh my god. So as the week progressed, like my entire, I obviously have a notebook. It's completely filled with all about this episode. So moving on, my movie review, I thought I'd pick this movie because I can actually watch it, is called The Room. The Room. Now this, if you look up, I had to review it, I had to do it. If you look up the worst movies ever made, I think this is 1 or 2. This movie is so bad. So, the story, the acting, everything, just, it's cringeworthy. You have no idea. But the funny thing is, in saying that, it has a complete cult following of a movie. People still go see this at the theaters. There's a special edition. So this was directed, written, and starred by a guy called Tommy Wiseau. Apparently his backstory is very shady, especially how he got the money to make this movie. Probably this movie is more infamous than anything else. Another very strange cat, very strange dude, 0 acting skills, 0. And not to mention, this movie was released in 2003. He bought a billboard. He bought a billboard in Los Angeles to promote the movie. That, obviously when a movie comes out, that has a theatrical run, which means, after that's done, you kind of get rid of the board or gets changed to a different poster. No. So this wasn't a renting board. He bought a billboard, kept the promotional material for that movie for 10 years. For 10 years after the movie was released. So there was a billboard for a movie that had already gone to DVD and everything. So strange dude. So this movie, I had to review it. It's one of the, I had a mate who recommended it to me to watch it, as well as if you go check it out, go check out Cinema Sins. So that YouTube channel, I love it. So they go through, as it sounds, they go through different movies and they point out the flaws in it and they rank it. And, for example, this movie, had a score of 30 negative points. Or this movie has 80 negative points. Like, that's a sin. That's a sin. This movie has so many sins. I'm pretty sure it still holds the bar at Cinema Sins for how many sins it has. I'm pretty sure it was at least over about 300 or so sins for this movie. It's just it's just god awful, honestly. So it's based in San Francisco. Tommy Wiseau he's meant to play the good guy, he's meant to be the hero, he's meant to be, the stand-up right guy, and he's about to get married to his partner Lisa, and she cheats on him, spoiler, cheats on him, with his best friend, and then she lies weirdly about it. And then she lies that she's pregnant, and then she makes this whole thing the fact that she can do whatever she wants because she's a woman, so she can play men. And everyone agrees with her as well, saying, "Whoa, you have got the balls to do that." And she's like, "Yeah, I can do whatever I want. You got to look out for number one." And look, it's at the very beginning of the movie. There's a character called Danny, and he randomly, as they enter, Tommy's character and Lisa, they're about to go out the bedroom. They allude to the going out the bedroom, and this character called Danny, who's meant to be like a kid, says, "Oh, can I join?" They're like, "No, we're gonna do funny stuff." Still comes up, still goes upstairs, and they start play fighting with pillows, and then they have to go. So, and then he goes, really weird. And this is the room. The room is meant to be an apartment, and the front door is like a revolving door. People walk in and out of it. Or strangely enough, also that midway through the movie, some friends of them also decide to go and, even though they have their own places, also go there to have funny stuff for some reason. Also, for some reason as well, in this room, if you will, there's framed photos of spoons. I'm not joking. Honestly, this is 100% true. There's framed photos of spoons and in this living room. It's weird. They also play a lot of football for some reason. There's always a football. They went to go play football on a rooftop as well. The acting is shocking. Not sure what accent that Tony Wiseau is putting on. It's a little bit weird. Frame photos of spoons. None of these characters have last names. The main chick, Lisa, she's a WTF character. Just weird decisions. Or strange enough, she starts a conversation and then goes, "No, I don't want to talk about it anymore." And then in a split second, the same scene, starts talking about it again. For some particular reason. Also, she's makes up this whole lie that Tommy Wiseau's character, Johnny, hit her, tells her mum. Her mum just glasses over and goes, "Oh, but Johnny's a good man. He's financially stable." And then they go on to that. Like, they don't talk about it anymore for a couple of scenes. As I said, there's a lot of football for some reason. Time works really weird. Like, there's scenes where they do like a day and night as time passing, but then when they go back to the room, it's the same day. That's weird. Not 100% sure what Johnny's job is. They do two different occupations. The music's weird, and it's just, it really makes you wonder, like, what was he thinking when he wrote this? Or he directed, like, that looks good. So, and the green screen's bad as well. Like, you can tell they're not really staying there. It's just, it's just... And then there's a scene, as well as, what's really weird, there's a scene where they're in the alleyway and they're playing football, and then one of the characters just randomly pushes one of the guys into the bins. Just like, yeah, boom, right in the bins. And then carries him away. Look, it's just... Look, honestly, if you have an hour to spend, please go watch this movie. It's just weird, and you completely understand why it's the most weird, one of the worst movies made of all time. Like, it's just effed up. However, one thing, if you don't want to actually watch this movie, which I completely understand why, and I hope I can convey why not to watch it, there's a movie called The Disaster Artist. Which James Franco is in it, and he plays Tommy Wiseau because it's based off the book, because Tommy Wiseau also wrote a book about the entire experience, and he plays the character brilliantly. But go watch that, because it all talks about his experience coming to Hollywood, directing The Room, and he's in the whole thing, and unfortunately going to the theater and no one liking the movie. And you wonder why. And it's actually, that movie got some really good reviews, and James Franco just nailed the character. But actually go watch that, because I actually watched that first, because I thought, I'd be curious to find out what's the backstory behind the worst movie ever made. And yeah, it's really good, and it gives a really insight. And honestly, between watching this and the Disaster Artist, your question is, who or what are you, Tommy Wiseau? Where'd you come from? WTF? Where'd you get all the money? That's apparently mysterious as well, because I don't know where he actually got all the money to do anything as well, because his backstory is shady as all hell. And he's still making movies. Yep, still making movies. He also did a promo because he wanted to play the Joker as well. Yeah, that's also a thing. But yeah, this movie... I've watched a lot of movies, and if you don't, if someone goes to me, Thor 2 was pretty bad, watch The Room. Back to the Future isn't that too good, go watch The Room. Actually, if someone told me that Back to the Future was a bad movie, I think I would leap over the desk and brawl with them, honestly. That movie is sacred, you don't touch that. First one you don't touch. Let's not talk about the sequels. Still love the entire franchise, but I can understand everyone's opinion. But so it's just weird characters. Oh, and also the characters, none of them have a last name. The credits roll, and everyone just has a first name. And you find out that it's just weird movie. Please go check it out, and please let me know please go check it out. Please let me know what your thoughts on it. Please message me and tell me what you thought of it, and I'd love to discuss. But moving on from that absolutely piece of garbage of a movie, and framed photos of spoons, is what we also got this week, which is fantastic, was the Sony Showcase. This was really cool. Going into this, the most thing I thought, actually two things I thought of going to this was I have to do with Gran Turismo 7 and obviously God of War. And was I surprised? We've got Knights of the Old Republic, a PS5 remake, not a remaster, a remake. Holy shit, this game is fantastic. It is the highest rated Star Wars game. The whole story is amazing. And the fact that you can get it on your phone. No joke, you can get it on your phone. I tried playing on my phone. I can't do it. But like when I saw the trailer and when I found out that they were making this, I think I was drooling. I was like, oh my God. Actually, you know what's really funny is that so I changed my service provider on my phone, and they delivered my new SIM card. However, I had to go pick it up from the post office. So I had 24 hours with no reception because my service provider saw that it got delivered, so they cut me off. they cut me off the day that this all got announced. So as I left home, all the announcements were coming through, and then boom. I didn't know anything. No one could text me. I had no internet. So for the whole day at work, I'm just thinking, bet you there's some really cool stuff getting announced. Bet you everyone's, talking about it on the internet. Bet you everyone's loving it. That'd be real nice right now. And yep, great. So as soon as I got home, picked up the sim, looked at all the notes, I'm like, oh my god. And this was the first thing I saw was Knights of the Old Republic. Holy shit. PlayStation 5 remake. Ground up work. I'm sold. So pumped. So chipping at the bit for this. For the last few months, I feel like for games coming out, it's been a little bit slow. But when you see these events, it just rebuilds your hype. It rebuilds you like, yes, that's right, that's coming out, that's cool. And you're like, I didn't know that was coming out. And, this was rebuilds your hype, and I'm pumped for that. They also announced Spider-Man 2. We got Spider-Man 2 trailer, which was both Miles Morales and Spider-Man in the trailer. And Venom is going to appear because we saw the after credits scene or mid credits scene in the Miles Morales DLC. Well, it wasn't DLC. I don't know how you want to put it. It was DLC for the game. Venom, but there's also a Russian accent going over the trailer, which I do believe that I think that would indicate maybe Kraven, the Hunter. Is going to be in as well. Like he's a big dude, essentially a big dude hunter who wants to fight Spider-Man to the death, or wants to beat him and win. So he's been in one of the villains, which we actually get a Kraven the Hunter movie, which Sony's greenlit they're going to make. Don't ask me, please. No one ask me how it's going to fit in Sony's goddamn convoluted plan on what they're trying to do. We're in the MCU, we're not. We're in the MCU, we're not. Also, a little tidbit, apparently there's always meant to be something big between Venom and Spider-Man MCU possibly crossing over. There was a recent interview with one of the producers, or it wasn't Kevin Feige, I was reading, was the fact that apparently they're going to make an announcement soon, or all will be revealed, if you wish, soon. So if they're going to do that, so pumped if they do that. But yeah, so the Spider-Man 2 trailer looks nuts. Pumped for that. And what actually I'm actually really stoked for. So both Dean and Mark love the new Spider-Man game. The Spider-Man game is nearly a flawless adaptation for Spider-Man in video games, and obviously everyone lost their shit when the fact you could be Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suit in there. In this trend in Sonic Games, who created this Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 1, is they're going to make a Wolverine one too, which I thought was so cool. I'm like, yes, take my absolute money. I'll be buying Wolverine when that comes out. Boom, on my list. So go check that out. God of War Ragnarok. It looks stunning. It looks beautiful. That's a beautiful trailer. People say that's weird. How can you call a game beautiful? Go look at Ghost of Tsushima. That is that's beautiful kind of game work, and it's absolutely great. And I'll fight anyone who says it's not. Like, just walking, I've said it before, I was saying, just walking around in the fields, screenshot, put on that canvas. Yeah, I went to Japan. I also saved Japan. But what'd you do lately, bitch? Anyway. But yeah, God of War Ragnarok. Looks really good. Apparently it's also going to be that's going to be capping off the Norse mythology storyline. So I'm not too sure if that's going to, they're still going to do a 6. I feel like depending on that's how this game is going to play out, I feel like if there's any leg room left, they should go with the God of War 6. Yeah, wrap it up as 6 games. However, we'll find out. Thor, I love the artwork. Looks good. Thor isn't Chris Hemsworth. More close to Fat Thor. That still looks really cool, but more Fat Thor. So that looks really good. Other games and Gran Turismo 7 trailer dropped as well. And my God, that looks stunning. And I can't wait to play that. Like, I love Gran Turismo, the real driving simulator. That looks fantastic. And, oh, God, they don't make a lot of games, the Gran Turismo series, but this looks fantastic. And they're going to... One thing they do with every Gran Turismo game is they push the limits of the console at the time. So PlayStation 5 at full power with this, holy shit. They also announced Tina's Wonderful World, which is a Gearbox spin-off. Forspoken, which looks really good. I'm intrigued. You have my attention. Ghostwire of Tokyo. They've also announced Uncharted Remaster. They're remastering both The Thieves' End and Lost Legacy, which looks really good. It's good to complete that remaster trilogy, quadrilogy, if you will. They've also Alan Wake. They've done a remaster for that. That trailer dropped a little bit earlier on compared to Sony Showcase, and people, the internet's everything I've seen. I haven't actually played the original Alan Wake game, but all I do know is the fact that it had a lot of positive reviews. It's kind of like a mystery game, so that's got a lot of hype for it. And the only negative, I do believe, the entire showcase is that, or negative, or people feel like this is a load of garbage, was the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 5. Yes, Grand Theft Auto 5 has become the new Skyrim, essentially. They're porting on each console, and the Gran Turismo 5 is meant to be coming out in March next year. Same with Gran Turismo 7. Apparently, a lot of people are like, it wasn't enough in the trailer for you to grab a lot. It said there's gonna be extra content and stuff like that, but they didn't actually go in detail what it was. So I think a lot of people are like, why should we get hyped? Or like, why should we give a shit? And look, don't get me wrong, Grand Theft Auto 5 is which Rockstar do with every single Grand Theft Auto game. It's a staple. It's a statement and what they can do. So every single game is perfectly respected and perfectly done to the best of their abilities. In Grand Theft Auto 5, the story, the gameplay, it's all fantastic. Don't get me wrong, people are negative about the game as a whole. They're just negative to the fact that it's getting ported again. This game came out in 2013. Next year, it'll be nearly 10 years since its original release. However, no one holds a candle to Skyrim. And the funny thing is, even the owner, the director, said with Skyrim was, people are like, oh, why do you keep porting? He's like, because you guys keep buying it. Boom. End of day. I'm going to buy Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm going to be one of those fools. I'm going to buy Grand Theft Auto 5 when it comes out. Only because I haven't played the game in a while. And I haven't played the game for a while. I completed the story back in 2013. So this new Grand Theft Auto 5, when it comes out, I'm going to buy it, and because I want to do the story from scratch. And I kind of want to see what the big upgrade. Because when they originally did from Grand Theft Auto 5 to the PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, there was if you go back and watch the trailer, there was a massive difference. You could see it was so much more clearer, and it was so much more open, and the fact that the graphics, there was a big jump from that, which a lot of people, that was, you could clearly see that, which I did too. I bought Get It for the PlayStation 4, but yeah, you could clearly see the upgrade, and it made it worth, obviously, to go buy it. But the Grand Theft Auto 5 trailer that dropped, you couldn't really tell there was a whole lot of a difference, which is kind of gut-wrenching. However, I know it would be really good to see what this extra content is. We're only talking about in September right now. What's going to happen in the next 5 months? What are they going to tell us? I predict, judging how everything's going, this might hopefully be the last port of Grand Theft Auto 5, because they're going to have to announce either going to go Grand Theft Auto 6. Don't make Grand Theft Auto 6. Make a Bully sequel. Any Bully fans out there, go play that game. You know what I mean. Between that and between the remastered trilogy of the original 3 games, I'll be playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto over the next few months. So, but that was probably, out of everything I was reading, listening to, that was probably the biggest negative. Like, everyone was saying positive comments about the Tina's Wonderful World, the Gearbox spin-off, that was all positive. Uncharted was positive. Forspoken, this game, was definitely positive, because it was positive in the light that this wasn't a sequel or remake or remaster, which, funny enough, which is more of a growing thing, is that, which can sometimes be a hit and miss, is the fact that it's becoming more of a growing thing. It's becoming more of a growing thing in video games, similar to like movies. They're making remake and remasters. But however, I think the difference with the fact that compared to movies to a video game, you can enrich a video game a lot more if you do a remake, because the fact that you have your limitations when that game was made, and now you have all these limitations. So if you say, sort of a movie, like you've made a movie and that's the best you could do at the time, and then, you make a video game that's the best you could do at the time with limitations, and you wrote the story for the best it could be. And if someone comes to you back and goes, oh look, it's PlayStation 5, it can do all this. Was there a bigger story you wanted to tell? Or was there stuff, if you will, left on the cutting room floor? Which, depending on depending on the creator, I can completely understand if someone goes, yep, there was, I want to remake it, ground up, be true to it. Obviously, you want to make sure the fact people still feel that experience, that hype that they felt in the game. However, if you can enrich a story, if you can enrich a video game and give it more content to expand on the story, I'm all up for it. I think go ahead, make a remake or make a remaster. Depending on how old the game is, I lean more to a remake than a remaster, because sometimes what we have seen is that when they do remaster it, it's a bit, it's not a bit clunky. That's not it. But you can, there's some elements you're like, oh, they could have done that better, or the fact that it's not situated particularly for that console. So I'm more lead to remakes than I am remasters. And when I say remake, I mean like you rebuild the game from the ground up. So Showcase was fantastic, and all these announcements, I can hear my wallet crying in pain between this and all the movies that are going to be coming out. However, I'm crying inside because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it. But yeah, and so that was, that's pretty much a lot of my tidbits for today. It was, it was a big week, and it was, it was a fun week. It was a big week, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you enjoyed my reviews and my little tidbits. And as always, please go check out my Instagram page, and please send me a message if you want anything you want to chat about, any of your thoughts. I'd love to hear it. And always, guys, appreciate your time. And until next time.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.